would like, if I may, to take you on a strange journey.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Real Estate Realities with the Rebel Broker. My name's Robert Whitelaw, and I am the Rebel Broker. Licensed real estate broker in the state of California. Member of the National Association of Realtors. But please, don't hold that against me. Welcome to Tuesday, everyone. I hope the start to your week is going well. I hope you're staying on task, keeping your eye on the prize, making sure those goals are constantly getting whittled down. Remember, any progress is good progress. Even if you're not going at the pace you want, you're at least heading in the right direction, even if it is only an inch at a time. Don't give up. Use the tools you've got available to keep you on target. As always, if you'd like to get in contact with me, the best way to do that is to head on over to www.therebelbroker.com. You can click on Contact the Rebel Broker right there in the menu. Go to the contact page, send me any ideas, suggestions, observations, or questions you might have, and I'll be happy to get back to you with some kind of an answer. It might just be pointing you in the right direction, or I might have some decent insights. Who knows? You never can tell. Of course, you can also take a minute out of your day to click on the Take the Survey to Support the Show button at the very tippy top. That is designed to help push the show up to the next level so I can spend more time providing more interesting content for you, not just here in the show, but also delivering in a variety of other ways as well. So any support you can throw my way regarding that is appreciated. And thank you very much for those of you who have already taken part and done that. Got kind of an interesting perspective today, one that I think is good, particularly with the things we've talked about over the past few weeks. It's nice to try to shift our eye towards markets that may introduce a different level of stability and reliability in terms of your investments. So what I thought I'd cover today is the best military towns for you to consider as part of your investment strategy. And what we're going to go through, we're going to rate them by cap rate. And we're going to cover the top 10. Now, if you want to go to www.therebelbroker.com and check out the show notes for today's show, you'll actually see a list of the top 20. And this list comes to us from the website Home Union, which is a great site for a lot of different sources of information. I've found them to be pretty enlightening in a lot of different ways over the last year in terms of different stories or different perspectives on real estate investing. So it's absolutely worth your time to take a look at this article in depth. We just don't have enough time to do all 20 of the ones listed here, but I figured we'd start off and look at the top 10. And in addition to covering the cap rate, which is how this is sorted. So the 10th one on this list will be the lowest cap rate that's in the top 10, and then it's ranked upwards with increasing cap rates from there. And as usual, I'll try to add a little bit more flavor to this list by including the average home price in those areas. Because, I know a lot of you are interested, if you're a first-time investor, in what is that barrier to entry. Now, for some of you who are just established investors and that barrier to entry is less of a thing and you're focused on other numbers, you're focused on things like, now for me, it's all about return on an investment. I know that cap rate is typically calculated based on the cost of the property or the value of the property. I do my calculations based on how much money I have into it. So in other words, if I have spent a grand total through down payments, through improvements, whatever else, if I have spent whatever it is, $50,000, $100,000, $150,000, I like to base my return on that because I'm more about the utility of my cash. If I have $100,000 and I stick it into this instead of something else, I want to be able to do kind of an apples to apples comparison of, well, how much is that money making me in that property versus if I had put it in this stock or in this treasury note or on this horse race, whatever. And then, of course, within that spectrum, you're measuring levels of risk, with probably the biggest risk being that horse race and the lowest risk maybe being that treasury note, right? That's going to get you some very low percentage rate of return. So you're wanting to, and because you are taking some level of risk in doing real estate, you're clearly wanting to do something where you're weighing the risk against the risk of the other ways that you could potentially put that money to work for you. So that's just my approach. If you can embrace that, if you like, you can evaluate it any other way you like. I know plenty of investors who worry less about that and want stability, and they want much more reliability. So they tend to really gravitate towards super solid properties that are in areas where there's just not a whole lot of room for potentially downsides, and sometimes they're willing to take those lower cap rates, and they're willing to put a lot more money down so that there's always positive cash flow on a month-to-month basis. And it's going to depend. Everybody's got a different scenario for them depending on how much money they have to put in at the beginning and how much time they want to invest in actually managing the property, or do they want to delegate that to someone and have that be another cost that they simply roll in. So you get what I'm saying. It can be a very different equation for each investor. So, but I think one great place to start is going with these places near military bases. Now, I've got a couple of folks who I've come across over the years. One is actually was a serving, actually just got out of the Navy a few years ago. But he has been acquiring his properties as he has served in the Navy. So when he was stationed in Southern California, he purchased a property that would be a good one to service military families. When he was stationed elsewhere, he was planning on doing the same kind of stuff. So in fact, the first one he purchased when he was stationed down south wasn't even positive cash flow at first. I think it took him something like 4 or 5 years before it went positive, and it's been positive ever since. But, at first he was living in it, so he wasn't really horribly worried about that at the get-go, but then he just decided to keep it. So if you buy right, I think that getting properties that are within these military housing areas are a smart bet. I think it's something that you can do and leverage and count on. Maybe not super long term, because it depends on how long the posting is for a military family, right? These folks go where the orders tell them to go. So you may not find that these are folks that will rent for you and then rent from you and then rent for a decade. But from folks I've talked to, they tend to have good experiences with military renters. Now, is it always possible that you're going to find a downside to this? And you may get a bad renter? Sure. I mean, we're still talking about human beings, but I think you're managing that risk a lot more by catering to this particular segment of the renting population. So given those, I think those higher levels of potentially worry-free renting and the other advantages of typically these kinds of areas being immune to a lot of economic issues that would plague a normal area, in other words, not a predominantly military area, I think it's a little bit more of a level of insulation for your investment that you don't get typically with other style properties. Now, part of this article actually sums up the appeal pretty well. Let me quote. For example, military service members are employed by the federal government, which provides greater employment certainty than the private sector. Demand from servicemen and women is stable, particularly as the military limits overseas deployments following 2 protracted wars. In addition, the military compensates service members based on market rate rents, rank, and dependents, giving landlords incentives to lease to military personnel and their families. They continue on to say the transient nature of serving in the military also means that there is a substantial population of government workers that prefer to rent rather than buy, driving demand over the short and long term. What's also interesting about this is when you're doing off-base housing, when you're doing something within easy distance of the base, even for these folks who do tend to serve and move around and maybe perhaps go overseas, you'll usually find that their spouse and the rest of their family is going to stay at their primary base while they're deployed. So while if you're renting directly to the service person for whatever reason, having off-base housing, and that individual may end up being more transitory, if you're renting to someone with a family sort of tagging along, the likelihood is that service member would go off to a service area, but their family would stay and still continue to rent the home. All right, so let's go ahead and jump in. The first one on our list, this is number 10, is the city surrounding Offutt Air Force Base in Omaha, Nebraska. Now, this particular location has a 5.5% cap rate, which is absolutely respectable, with a military housing area rent of $1,193. Now, if we go ahead and check that area out, let's take a look and see what the average price is. Now, right now, the median price is $173,000. If we go in and take a look at what's currently available, we see that there are a number of really suitable places virtually right there on the base. I'm seeing one that almost shows as if it is across the street from Offutt Air Force Base for $134,000. I'm seeing another property, let's see here, 3-bedroom, 1 full bath, $85,000 just up the road from Offutt. Seeing another one just to the west, $110,000. So even the proximity to the base doesn't dictate higher prices. In fact, if you start to head, these homes are actually not directly in Omaha. These tend to be in Bellevue, which is the town that borders Offutt Air Force Base. And then, of course, there are others that are a little bit further up that tend to be actually inside the borders of Omaha. Again, not horrible barriers to entry. $233,000, $125,000, $45,000, $135,000, $104,000. So tons of different opportunities here in terms of low barrier to entry for investors, but the potential to get a great return in terms of reliability, in terms of being able to have an investment in a rental property that'll give you that level of security that might be missing from a lot of other properties. Now, number 9 on our list is Fort Sam Houston, which is near San Antonio, Texas. The cap rate there is 5.6%, and the military housing area rent is $1,294. And if we go and we take a look at the average prices for that area, it's $282,320 average rent. There's over 4,000 homes currently for sale in San Antonio, and the median rent, according to Trulia, is currently $1,400 per month. Now, if we take a look at some of the homes that are currently available in San Antonio, and we focus our attention on the ones that are closer to the base. Now, San Antonio actually is a twofer because you've got Fort Sam Houston and Lackland Air Force Base. So you've got two different bases there that are potential ones that you can serve. And again, very low barriers to entry in terms of you being able to offer investment properties to military personnel. Now, let me also suggest that this also falls under the heading of you need to sort of evaluate the properties for type. You are going to find mostly military families tend to like the 3 bedrooms, 2 bath scenarios. So if you're going with 2 bedroom, 1 bath, I think you're limiting the potential number of folks that you can get. But the price that you can get some of these 2 bedrooms for may nullify that. It may be one of those deals where you can get such good cash flow going that it ends up being a good bet for you. But let me suggest you try to adhere to that 3 bedroom, 2 bath mantra, both over at the fort and then also at Lackland Air Force Base, which is located on the western end. And that's another one where the barriers to entry are relatively low. I am not seeing huge prices here in terms of you being able to acquire something. I'm seeing 3 bedroom, 2 baths for $109,000, $103,000 for a 3 bedroom, 2 bath, $165,000 for a 3 bedroom, 2 bath, $148,000 for a 4 bedroom, 3 bath over by Lackland Air Force Base. And if we head back over to Fort Sam Houston, I'm seeing a 3 bedroom, 2 bath for $190,000. I'm seeing a 3 bedroom, 2 bath for $275,000. So again, relatively low barriers to entry. Plenty of opportunity there for somebody who wants to try and serve members of the military who are looking for housing off base. All right, let's go ahead and see about our next location here. The next one is Fort Hood, which is near Killeen, Texas, with 5.8% cap rate and a military housing area rent of about $1,097. Now, if we focus just on the stats for Killeen, Texas, the average listing price is $143,799. Remember, that's the average listing price. And if I'm not mistaken, the reason why we're seeing listing price instead of sales price in Texas is the sales price is actually, this is another moment where I wander into the weeds a little bit. But from what I've heard from folks who do real estate in Texas, what a home sells for is actually confidential information, so it doesn't end up entered into their multiple listing service, so they can't pull that data out and sort of give you an idea of the delta between list price and sales price, which is kind of interesting. here in California, it's actually entered into the multiple listing service. In fact, I get dinged if I don't enter what the actual sales price was to a listing that was entered into the MLS. There's currently 543 homes listed for sale in Killeen. Median rent per month is $995. Clearly, it sounded like from the stats that we read from that article that amount is a little bit higher, specifically in the areas where the base is. I can see Fort Hood and the Army Airfield tend to be at the north end of town, and I'm seeing 4-bedroom, 2-bath for $30,000. I'm seeing a 3-bedroom, 2 full bath for $85,000, 3-bedroom, 2-bath for $65,000, 4-bedroom, 2-bath for $90,000. These are all amazing prices in terms of very low barrier to entry and being able to cater to military service personnel that are going to give you that higher level of comfort in your rental scenario. So that's a great one. Next on our list is Fort Gordon at Augusta, Georgia, with, again, 5.8% cap rate and $1,078 in military housing area rent. Now, if we go ahead and look at the market for Fort Gordon in Georgia, we can see that the numbers for just Augusta, Georgia in general, median sales price, $113,750. That's the median sales price, so that's actual sales, with $900 noted here as the median rent. Now, if we then focus our gaze more to the area right around the base, which is in the southwest end of town, with actually some areas that would service this outside of town. Again, it's another area that has a lot of interesting opportunities in terms of properties that are not a huge barrier to entry. We've got properties, $155,000 for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath that looks like it's just off the base on the other side of the 4 highway. Let's see, $66,000 for $79,000 for a 5-bedroom, 2 full bath single family home. Then at the north end of the base, I'm seeing homes for 4-bedroom, 2-bath, $174,000, 4-bedroom, 2-bath, $189,000. 4-bedroom, 3-bath, $184,000, and there's a huge range in terms of prices that you can pay here, which is good. I mean, I think that represents a good thing when you have a little bit of diversity in the property types that are available and maybe the amenities of those homes. I think that when you're willing to go and bite off a little bit more on some of these marketplaces that offer a little bit more, and you're able to then accentuate some of the best features, you're more likely to be rented all the time. I think you end up being the first one on the list that gets rented, versus it may be a little bit more competitive for you to work through other properties or to work against other properties that might also be on the marketplace in some of these areas. All right, so that wraps it up for Augusta, Georgia. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to go through the rest of this list, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Are you ready to jump in and start your search for your first investment property? Maybe you've decided that it's time to own your own home, or maybe you're ready to sell your home and move on to something new. No matter what your goal is, the Rebel Broker can help. That's right, aside from hosting this show, I am also the owner, broker of Whitelaw & Sons Real Estate Services right here in Silicon Valley. With over 25 years experience serving Silicon Valley, Morgan Hill, San Martin, and Gilroy, I or one of my great agents can help you achieve your goals in real estate. So if you're ready to look into taking that next step towards achieving your real estate goals, point your browser at www.soldbyrobert.com. That's www.soldbyrobert.com and get in touch. Let me show you how I will earn your business and your respect. Again, that's www.soldbyrobert.com, or you can call me at 408-852-0525. California Bureau of Real Estate ID 00984-909. Welcome back, everyone. We are going down our list of military housing areas that represent a great investment for folks who might be looking to jump in and serve military personnel in terms of providing them housing near the base. We have counted down, I think, to number 7. So number 6 is next. Yeah, number 6 is next, with Sheppard Air Force Base at Wichita Falls, Texas. Wichita Falls, Texas is showing 5.9% cap rate with, military housing area rent of $883 per month. And let's see, if we focus just on some of the general data for Wichita Falls, we find the average list price is $142,916. There's currently 530 homes for sale in Wichita Falls with a median rent per month of $950. Now, if we go ahead and focus in on where the base is located, which is the north end of town, just off the 44 freeway at the 325, which looks like to be the main exit. And I'm also guessing the next exit, Missile Road, is going to be another one. Because why else name the road Missile Road unless you're going to a military base? There are some options there with some interesting variety. So there's a community that looks like it's right just north of Missile Road that looks like the commute would literally be a walk to the front gates. There's a home listed there for $200,000. It's a 4-bedroom, 2 full bath home. Again, for $200,000, which is, to be very honest, on the high end in terms of the properties that I'm seeing available here. There's another home, again, within a walk of base, $65,250, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. It looks perfect for this kind of a strategy. Next, a 3-bedroom, 1 full bath, a little bit less desirable because of the 1 full bath. You'd usually want to have at least 1.5 baths with a 3-bedroom home. $56,500 for that one. I'm seeing a 3-bed, 1 full bath for $50,000 a little bit further out. Currently, I'm only seeing about 3 homes that are actually right there near the base, but then when you go a little bit further south into town, you're seeing a 2-bedroom, 1 full bath for $26,000, a 3-bed, 1 full bath for $30,000. Let's see, let me find something that's a little bit more suitable here. I'd be jumping. Okay, so here's one that's a 4-bed, 2 full bath for $70,000. This one's far enough away from the base. You could probably pull renters from either end, but it's still close enough to the base that it's an easy on to get to the primary access to the base. And judging by what I'm seeing in terms of this pocket of homes for sale, it looks like you would have probably a lot of folks who live on the or work on the base or who have family members serving on the base would live in this area, just given the volume of listings that I'm seeing there. And they're all under $100,000 in terms of acquisition costs. So how can you beat that? I mean, that's a great acquisition cost in terms of being able to get into the market without having to come up with as much money as you might in some other marketplaces. All right, next on our list is Fort Benning in the city of Columbus, Georgia, with 6.10% cap rate in that military housing area. Military housing area rent is $914 per month. Now, when we shift our gaze over to some of the average stats for Columbus, we see the median sales price is $129,500. That number, remember, average is a little different. Median is the price at which half the homes that sold were above that price and half the homes that sold were below that price, with median rent noted here as $900 per month. If we take a look at the area nearest the base, now, if we look at the city of Columbus, Fort Benning is humongous. The entire southern end and eastern end of the city are bordered by Fort Benning. Fort Benning pretty much is the area between Columbus and Cusseta and Box Springs and almost all the way out to Geneva. So it's a very, very large area. So your potential avenues for providing rental units to folks who are on base is a little bit broader. Almost everything that sort of hugs that southern and eastern end of town is going to be stuff that is appropriate. Let me just zoom out here a little bit and see what all we're seeing. But Fort Benning is gigantic. So let's see here. And we're tending to see a pretty decent variety in prices. So I'm seeing a 3-bedroom, 2 full bath, $44,500, 4-bedroom, 2 bath, $33,900, 4-bedroom, 2 bath, $35,000. Excuse me. I may have just read these incorrectly. 3-bedroom, 2 bath, $44,500, 4-bedroom, 2 bath, $33,900, and 4-bedroom, 2 bath, $35,000, $29,000, $87,000, 16.5. 24, 22, 90 for a 3-bedroom, 2 full bath, 28 just several blocks away for 3-bedroom and 1 bath. Again, what's a great mix here is the low barrier to entry plus having a more reliable source of tenants and providing a little bit more security to that, providing a little bit of insurance against fluctuations in the market in terms of whether or not people are employed and whether or not things go crazy. And with all the things we've talked about, this level of I don't know if you want to call it insurance, but this higher level of comfort that you might feel in terms of being an investor. I think it's a great opportunity for any folks who are interested in buying in these various areas. All right, so let's go ahead and continue down this list. We just did Fort Benning in Columbus, Georgia. Now we're up to number 4 on our list, which is Fort Sill in Lawton, Oklahoma. Let's see. Lawton, Oklahoma is showing a 6.3% military housing area capitalization rate. The military housing area rent is showing as $822 per month. Now, interestingly enough, when I try to pull up Lawton, Oklahoma in Trulia, it has no data on median sales price, but does indicate that the median rent per month there is $795 per month. When you do look for homes for sale, though, there is data. The base Fort Sill is at the north end of town, and literally right across the street from the base are a number of properties for sale. Here's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, single-family home for $69,900. Here's another one, 3-bedroom, 1 full bath for $30,000. Here's a 2-bedroom, 1 full bath for $18,000. And that's amazing to me. I actually just looked up a motorcycle the other day. What was it? Was it a Honda Goldwing or a Valkyrie that was $18,000? So for the price of that motorcycle, you could buy this 2-bedroom, 1 full bath property that's walking distance to the front gates of Fort Sill, which is nice. So again, very low barrier to entry. And if this is something that, if you're in this area, just these prices are insane. I'd absolutely want to look at this more closely. This just seems like inconceivably low prices for properties. 3-bedroom, 1 full bath, $16,900. Here's one, 6 bedrooms, 2 full bath. That might be a bit of overkill for that marketplace, but that's what looks like the most expensive house I'm seeing. $105,000 for that bad boy. Definitely something worth looking into, figuring out what the math does and doing an analysis of the return on investment for properties in those areas, depending on demand for rent. Let me see if I can just pull up homes for rent here in Lawton. Now, I am seeing a little bit of variety here. I'm seeing rents of $950. Let me see here. Let's see what you're getting for your money. 3-bedroom, 2-bath, $950. 3-bedroom, 1-bath, $900. 3-bedroom, 1-bath, $725. 3-bedroom, 1-bath, $550. 3-bedroom, 1-bath, $525. 4-bedroom, 2 full bath, $950. 1-bedroom, 1 full bath, $325. 3 bedrooms, 2 full baths, $1,200. So clearly, I mean, just from looking at those few numbers we've seen there, once you hit that 3-bedroom, 2-bath mark, you're getting up close to $1,000. $950 for this other 3-bedroom, 2-bath, tending more to the west, $1,195 for this property that has a 3-bed, 2-bath. Given the acquisition costs of these properties, these rents are amazing. For a lot of you out there in different areas, the cost to acquire these properties is what you'd have to come up with as a down payment in other areas. And then in this, you would have no mortgage to service. The only cost you'd have to deal with would be taxes and whatever other maintenance money that you've decided to put aside. For me, this seems like a great utility of money in terms of how much money you'd make per month. But, let's get real with some numbers here. We'll go ahead and we'll take a property that's got the 3-bedroom, 2-bath magic working for it. It's easily within walking distance of the base. $69,000 was what this home would go for. 3-bed, 2-bath, single-family home, virtually across the street from the base. Let's go ahead and ballpark an amount just below what we would expect. Remember, the rental prices we were seeing were $950 and $1,200, and those were for 2 properties that were a little bit further from being central. So let's go ahead and assume a lower number. Let's assume $900. If we assumed that for yearly income, that would, and you bought the house outright. You bought it for $69,000. And remember, you'd probably finance part of it. So the amount of money you have into it wouldn't be as much. That's a 15% return on your investment. And if you round it up, because it's 0.156, it would be 16% return on your investment, assuming that you are attempting to rent it at an aggressive price, a $50 below market price for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home. That's pretty good. Those are numbers I like to see. I'd absolutely want to get some ground truth before I'd get too excited about something like this, but at this price point, I'm not sure how you can lose. And I'm seeing so many of these homes where the primary difference in terms of sales price and what it is renting for is that one other bathroom, that second bathroom. I'd want to find out how hard it would be to purchase one of these 3-bedroom 1-baths that are selling for less than half of that. They're selling for something like $30,000. Let me just make sure that's true. Yeah, here's one for $30,000, 3-bedroom, 1 full bath. I'd love to find out how much it would cost to acquire this home and add a bathroom to it. I mean, if it's going to cost more than $30,000, it doesn't make much sense. But if I can add a second bathroom to that particular house for $10,000, $15,000, even $20,000, boy, am I getting good utility out of that. So something to absolutely keep in mind as you're considering the possibility of making military housing part of your strategy as an investor. All right, let's jump on to the next one. That was Fort Sill. Let's go next with Fort Jackson, Columbia, South Carolina, with a 6.3% military housing area cap rate, $1,145 military housing area rent. And if we take a look at the general stats for that city, according to Trulia, the median sales price is $142,500, with the median rent per month coming in at $1,150. Something interesting to note about Columbia is it's also the home of University of South Carolina, which is nice. I like that. University of South Carolina is actually right in downtown Columbia, and then Fort Jackson is occupying the eastern end of town. I like that. My ideal investment property in an area like this, if someone said, all right, Robert, you must invest in this city, it would be to be between University of South Carolina and the base. And there's absolutely a neighborhood I'm seeing sort of defined by the area from Hardin Street going across the 378 all the way over to Beltline Boulevard and a little beyond that towards Forest Lake. And then, of course, there's the Manning Correctional Institution way north of town, which I'm probably not going to go too close to, but I would stay in that wedge. I think that just from a, location concerns standpoint, looks like a great place to potentially make this investment work the most for you. If we take a look specifically at the properties in that area, let's see what we've got. Again, it is an excellent area in terms of low barriers to entry. There are some homes that are higher priced. I'm seeing 2-bedroom, 2-bath condos for $89,900. 3-bedroom, 2-bath single-family home for $289,000. 3-bedroom, 2-bath single-family home for $129,900. 3-bedroom, 1 full bath for $98,000. $359 for a 3-bedroom, 3 full bath. That would be ideal actually for the base. 3-bedroom, 2-bath for $220. 4-bed, 4-bath for $299. So a little bit higher barriers to entry here in terms of some of the more desirable areas that would also take advantage of proximity to the university. If you go a little bit further north in town, you can find 2-bedroom, 2 full bath home for $36,900, 4-bedroom, 4-bath for $324,900, a 3-bedroom, 2 full bath for $197,000, sort of at the extreme northern end of the base, or at least bordering the base area. So some decent opportunities to get in there. Barrier of entry maybe a little bit higher than what we've talked about in some of these other areas, but again, not ridiculously so. So opportunities that might work out well for someone, or for an existing investor who's already experienced and seasoned, all the way down to someone who might just be looking to jump into get into the market with their first purchase. All right, that was Fort Jackson in Columbia, South Carolina. Next, let's cover Fort Drum. This is number 2 on our list in Watertown, New York, with a cap rate of 6.9%. Military housing area rent of $1,238. Now, geographically, this particular arrangement is a little bit more interesting. While the base is officially in Watertown, it's not actually in Watertown. If you were buying a property or getting an investment property in the city of Watertown, you'd actually be pretty far away from the base. There are other properties that sort of live in that area between Watertown and the base, which may officially be in Watertown, but they're not in the downtown area. And Fort Drum is sort of an island out there with Wheeler Sac Army Airfield in Fort Drum, and it's surrounded on both sides, both the north and the south, with different property opportunities that all feed through the main road that goes through, which is the 26. At either end of those are communities that might serve best in terms of folks who want to be right there. But then if you just go down the road either direction a little bit, you're going to find plenty of opportunities. I'm seeing a 3-bed, 1 full bath for $109,000. I'm seeing a 3-bed, 1 full bath for $75,000. A 4-bed, 2-bath for $178,500. If we go, that's all at the south end of the base. If we go to the north end of the base, I'm seeing a 3-bed, 1 full bath for $134,000. 4-bed, 2-bath for $80,000. 2-bed, 1 full bath for $75,000. 3-bed, 2 full bath for $195,000. So again, various opportunities here. And I can't help thinking with all of these 3-bedroom, 1 full bath homes, that if you just could acquire one of these bad boys and get that second bath added, your desirability and utility would just jump through the roof, and you'd get rented a whole heck of a lot faster. Now, if I'm not mistaken, we sort of skipped some of the interesting data that we were normally covering here for Watertown. Watertown median sales price is currently showing for $143,950. The median rent per month there is $1,295. Again, another one that's a little bit more up there in terms of barrier to entry for acquisition, but not ridiculously so. Still looking like a lot of opportunities presenting themselves for below $200,000, which is way below the average. I believe the average right now, last time we checked it, was around was it 247 or 274 in terms of average price across the country. So we're below that. So it represents what I think is a much more of a lucrative offer in terms of barrier to entry. All right, that was number 2 on our list. If we hit number 1, it's Robins Air Force Base in Warner Robins, Georgia, with a 7% cap rate. $965 is the military housing area rental rate. And if we look at the data just for Warner Robins, Georgia, we see the median sales price is listed as $129,950 with median rent per month of $925. Now, this is another one of those air bases that tends to be tucked right in with the city. I believe that's the 129 looks like it's the barrier between the city of Warner Robins and Robins Air Force Base. With what looks like the 247 feeding directly into the main gate for the base. I'm not seeing anything hugging the border of the base that is currently for sale, but I am seeing some interesting opportunities. Here's a 3-bed, 2 full bath home, probably the closest one to getting you right onto the main base, $100,000. I see a 3-bed, 1 full bath, $50,000. Let's see, 2-bed, 1 full bath, $77,000, 5-bedroom, 2 full bath, $70,000. So let's see, 3-bedroom, 2 full bath, $70,000. Some excellent opportunities here. What's also great about this is because the town and the base are so close to each other, you're actually going to be able to look pretty broadly at the commute to get, for someone who lives off base, to get to base is going to be ridiculously easy given the closeness of the relationship between the city and the base. So this one represents a good opportunity in terms of probably having wider choices that would be suitable for folks living on the base. Let's see, it looks like another way to get on the base is at the south end from Russell Parkway, where I'm seeing a 3-bedroom, 2 full bath for $50,000. I'm seeing a 3-bed, 2-bath for $70,000. I'm seeing a 3-bed, 1-bath for $52,000. So lots of things available, plenty of opportunities. And again, another community where the barrier to entry is exceptionally low. If we were to then take a look at these and see homes for sale, homes for rent, not apartments, just homes, what are we seeing? Because this will give us a good idea of the utility of your investment in this particular area. We're seeing 4-bedroom, 2 full bath renting for $895, 4-bedroom, 2-bath for $700, 2-bedroom, 1-bath for $700. I don't know how that works. Here's $775 for a 3-bedroom, 2 full bath. The utility here is a little bit less. Well, that's not. The prices we were talking are on par with the city we were looking at a couple ago, where we did the math and we saw a fairly ridiculous 15 to 16% return on investment. I think if you did the math, you'd probably see a similar return here, maybe a little bit less high than in the past. This would be closer to 12%, 13%. But again, that's great utility for your money. Where else are you making 12 to 16% off of your money, right? If you took that $80,000, if you took that $70,000 and stuck it in the bank, you'd be making less than 1% interest. If you drop this into almost any other investment that is that is less or as risky or less risky, you wouldn't be making nearly as much. So, man, I tell you, the opportunities are out there. It depends on where you're willing to go. That was our number one in Warner, Georgia, or excuse me, Warner Robins, Georgia, at Robins Air Force Base. And these are great, right? Because not only are you getting that level of return, and this is real data. This isn't made up data. This isn't even military family only data. This is just the rental market in those areas as shown by Trulia. These are great opportunities for you to make that move into becoming an investor, but adding a little bit more of a level of security that you're going to feel in terms of knowing you're renting to someone who, for all intents and purposes, is going to be relatively immune to really bad workplace things, right? If you're renting to folks who are working in the military, who are earning a federal paycheck, the odds of that person losing their job, really low, right? So it adds a little bit level of security for you. All right. I appreciate everyone making the show a part of your daily routine. I hope stuff like this is helpful for you. And if it isn't something you absolutely want to jump in on, I hope it at least gets the gears turning. Maybe it turns your gaze on how you want to manage your investment, at least in a slightly different way, or maybe it opens up a door of thought that you hadn't considered before. That's really what it's all about, helping you get more information to make better decisions on what you want to do with your investment money and time. And I hope this has helped. As always, folks, thanks for listening. I'll talk to y'all next time.